Welcome to the deep dive. You know, most of us look at standard health markers, right? But what if those conventional metrics just aren't giving you the full picture? Today we're diving deep into some really cutting-edge strategies from Ivan Markovich for, well, elevating health way beyond the usual stuff.
Yeah, in this report, it really gives you a shortcut. A shortcut to being properly informed about your own body, your unique physiology. It's all about being precise, personalizing things, and really managing your health proactively, not just reacting.
Okay, proactive. I like that. So where do we start building that foundation? Ivan talks about strategic supplementation.
Exactly. Specific compounds chosen carefully can really bolster metabolic function. Take metformin, for instance.
Right, usually for glucose control.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is its effect on dampening cancer cell growth and improving things like C-reactive protein, those inflammation markers. And the approach isn't just a fixed dose. It's about finding your dose, starting low, carefully increasing with guidance, finding that sweet spot before any GI issues. And it seems to work especially well with MCT oil, particularly if you're on a ketogenic diet.
Interesting reframe for metformin. Okay, what about DCA, dichloroacetic acid? That sounds pretty technical.
It is, but its function is quite unique. It can selectively target and eliminate certain unhealthy cells, like cancer cells, but at doses that don't harm your normal healthy cells.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, start low, titrate up carefully.
Yeah.
And one really key thing is adding thiamine, vitamin B1, to help head off potential neuropathy.
And that works regardless of diet.
That's right. Seems effective across different dietary approaches.
Okay, so supplements can give a strategic boost, but how do you actually know what's going on inside? If these things are working, that must be where the advanced blood tests come in.
Precisely. We need to look deeper than the standard panel. Take the APOE genotype.
That's the Alzheimer's risk gene, right?
It informs on the risk, yes. But the really fascinating insight here is the phenotype, the actual amount of that APOE lipoprotein that's circulating in your blood. That amount is actually considered more predictive than just having the gene itself. So it gives you power. You can manage risk actively, even with a genetic flag.
That's empowering. Okay, and for heart health, we always hear about cholesterol, LDL.
Right, but it's often just total LDL mass. What's more critical, according to this, is the LDL particle number, often measured via NMR. It's the quantity of particles.
So like how many delivery trucks, not just the total cargo?
Exactly. Perfect analogy. And related to that is LPA. That's Lp(a). Ivan calls it maybe the most atherogenic genetic particle, a huge predictor of risk.
LPA. I haven't heard that much about it.
You're not alone. It's largely inherited. Maybe 10% of people have high levels, making it super common for atherosclerosis risk. Yet, most doctors just don't screen for it.
So if it's genetic, what can you do?
Well, diet and drugs don't really move the needle on LPA itself. So the strategy is you got to put the lever harder on managing all the other cardiovascular risk factors you can control.
Makes sense. Control what you can control. What about metabolic health? Ivan mentions the oral glucose tolerance test, the OGTT. Why is that so insightful?
It's about the dynamics, specifically the 1 hour mark after the glucose drink. If your insulin spikes above 50 at that point, that's a really crucial early warning sign.
Early warning for
hyperinsulinemia, basically insulin resistance developing. This can show up way before your HbA1c, your long-term sugar marker, looks off. It catches things early.
Got it. And another one mentioned is IGF, insulin-like growth factor. How does that connect to something like cancer?
Well, IGF is a pretty strong driver of cell growth. So keeping IGF levels lower can directly impact cancer pathways.
And how do you lower it?
Things like a ketogenic diet, maybe caloric restriction, intermittent fasting. Those are powerful dietary tools that can help manage IGF levels.
Okay, this is a lot of powerful information, but how do you stay on top of it consistently? Ivan suggests a kind of dashboard, right? 4 tests every 8 weeks.
Exactly. Foundational stuff. Morning fasting, insulin, and glucose. But the key is precision. They have to be done exactly 12 hours after your last bite of food. No wiggle room.
12 hours sharp.
Okay.
And he calls the reactive insulin test the most underrated in health. That's a big claim.
It is, but likely because it shows that dynamic response we talked about with the OGTT. It reveals early issues static tests just miss.
And the HbA1c test, we know that one.
Right, the long-term snapshot. But here's a surprising tip from the report. Supplemental magnesium is highlighted as potentially the fastest way to bring that number down.
Magnesium, really?
Yeah, and he calls magnesium probably one of the best anti-aging minerals worth looking into.
Definitely. Then there's RER, respiratory exchange ratio. Sounds like something for athletes.
It can be, but it's useful for anyone. It basically measures your breath to see if your body prefers burning fat or carbs for fuel at rest. Really helps personalize nutrition.
Okay, one last test mentioned, HCl test for stomach acid.
Yep, seems basic, but adequate stomach acid, pH level, is absolutely crucial for breaking down protein, absorbing key minerals like magnesium, iron, B12. And it's your first line of defense against pathogens. Foundational.
Wow. Okay, this really paints a much more detailed picture. It's a comprehensive framework, really strategic supplements, these advanced tests, consistent monitoring. It feels like it gives you, the listener, the actual tools to decode your own biology and take proactive control.
Absolutely. Knowing this stuff isn't just interesting, it could genuinely be life-changing, even life-saving for some. So the real question is, after hearing all this, what's the one lever in your health journey that you'll choose to pull harder on? Just always remember, discuss these kinds of advanced tests and strategies with your own doctor or healthcare provider first. Okay, make sure it's the right path for your specific situation.